We're going to talk about a little bit of the difference between magic for necessity and magic for abundance. So for me, that ancestral guidance, that ancestral spell was really the point where my money magic started becoming more intertwined with my life and started becoming like working really, really well. It's really just expanding and tapping into those associations with finances and money with the already existing plant relationships, spirit relationships. Hello, witches. Welcome back to my channel. It's me, your local chaotic witch aunt, and today we are talking about the art of money magic. Similar to the art of protection video and me sharing kind of the things that I did that I changed in my practice, I decided to do one for money magic because I realized there's not a lot of money magic videos on the internet, and I do a lot of money magic. Like a lot, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate spells active in the house right now for that purpose. So we're just gonna get started kind of talking through what I mean when I say money magic, some things to keep in mind, things that I do, allies I use, and kind of the mindset that I like to get into with these particular workings. So there are two aspects of money magic that I do that I kind of like to delineate between them. There's money magic for necessity, which I learned this from my friend Loretta, the Death Witch. There's prosperity and there's abundance. Prosperity is having enough to have everything covered. Abundance is that and a little more. I tend to do workings based on both of those. So I have magic for necessity and magic for abundance. Defining abundance is something we'll talk about a little later. It is something that we really have to do to each our own. Abundance is different for everyone, and what abundance looks like will look different for you than it does for me. And money magic and financial magic are very intertwined with many different traditions, so keep in mind this is my particular tradition, my practice, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. And it's usually very much an important aspect of traditions that are dominated by those who are minorities, oppressed populations. Anywhere there is struggle, money magic can be found, and spells for finances as well. So when we are talking about money magic, keep in mind that a lot of the times when you look on the internet, the money magic you're going to find and the aspects of money magic you're going to find come from those traditions. A lot of times that's just where people kind of found that information, and the goal is to always learn those traditions from the source and get permission to actually utilize those in your practice. Especially when we're talking about close practices, there's a lot of appropriation on the internet, and surprisingly, a lot of the money magic that I've seen on the internet is either very new agey or kind of looks very similar to something that a conjure person taught me. And so those are kind of like two delineations. Folk magic and money magic are very intertwined, and I encourage you to research your own traditions, your own practices, or like I'll discuss in this video, kind of make your own practice with money magic based off of what works for you. We're going to talk about a little bit of the difference between magic for necessity and magic for abundance. Magic for necessity refers to receiving enough money to pay bills, getting groceries, paying rent, and receiving money for unexpected bills in my case, because sometimes medical bills happen because I'm chronically ill. Having a magic for abundance refers to having everything that you need and more, being able to have extra after necessities to use as you wish, put into savings, do this, and being in a position where I am able to do things that feel good for me without endangering my financial stability. I have done a lot of different money magic over the years, a lot of different money magic in a lot of different ways, but today I'm going to be covering the things that actually helped me see improvement in my money magic and some of the allies and like mindsets I had to get into in order to have it be successful. First was recognizing what my ancestors would utilize and their equivalent of necessity or abundance. I don't know about you, but my ancestors were rural farmers. They didn't have much to begin with, so their kind of abundance and necessity had to do more with a bountiful crop and a good harvest than it did receiving enough money to pay their rent. My ancestors also lived very communally, so I keep that in mind when I talk about money magic, is that for me personally, my abundance is intertwined with the abundance of those around me. It's intertwined with my community, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today without that. That is where I am most abundant in my life. I'm surrounded by wonderful people, a wonderful family, a wonderful partner, wonderful viewers, and you are my abundance. Without you here, I would not be able to survive. And I want to acknowledge that as we talk about this moving forward. Utilizing mundane actions besides money magic. One of the big things that I think, so I'm going to talk about Financial Sorcery by Jason Miller in a little bit. One of my favorite books, but I get a lot of comments sometimes that people are like, why are you telling people that like they can do magic to make all their problems go away? And I'm like, I am not. That is not at all what I want you to take from my channel. I think that the mundane and the magic are so thoroughly intertwined, and there's no way that you'll be able to do one spell and have everything fixed in your life. What we can do is kind of use magic and folk magic and practices as a energetic way of making sure things go the way you want. This is a really watery coffee, but I'm still gonna drink it. You have to be realistic when you look at magic, especially money magic, and you have to make sure that you're actually working towards something that's attainable. For example, if I were to do a spell to make me a millionaire overnight, that's not going to be very attainable because I don't have any way of having that money come in. There's no way that any source of my income is suddenly going to send me $1 million overnight. Could I do that and then try and play the lottery? Yes, but that's a little less, you can do that. If you want to do that, you can do that. That's your choice. For me, I prefer to focus more on the like making sure I meet enough each month to pay rent and then have a little extra from the sources that I already receive income-wise. So like promotion at a job, receiving more tarot clients, getting more shop sales, etc. Jason Miller's book, Financial Sorcery. No one talks about this book, excuse my language, but I was so surprised when I read it and I was like, this is actually like insanely good, and no one talks about it and everyone wants to learn about money magic. I love that book. I think that it is the perfect mix of mundane and magical, and blending these spells and rituals and tools that he gives you with actual things that will help change your trajectory. He talks about debt relief. Thank you. No one's talking about debt relief in this climate. Come on, like it's great to see. And yes, it's a little older, so expect kind of some things to be like, what are you talking about? That's fine. He talks a lot about planetary things. A lot of my experience with planetary energetics in financial magic come from Jason Miller. So Jason Miller, if you watch this, know that I am a hardcore stan. I really like your book. Thanks. Looking to herbs in my practice and tools in my practice to advance the money magic that I had relationships with already. Spirits have a lot of functions. Plant spirits, saints, land spirits, a lot of functions. You don't have to start a relationship with a new plant to do money magic. For me, it was utilizing the plants I already had really, really strong relationships with. Plants that I really kind of like connected with and was able to sit with and like realize that they had these aspects of financial magic in them that I hadn't acknowledged before, just bringing that in instead of seeking out a completely new plant that I had to build a relationship with at the beginning. Same with the spirits. I looked to the spirits I already had in my life. Shout out Saint Expedite, shout out Saint Anthony. I owe him like some cake or something, so he's getting a public shout out. I owe that saint some pound cake, okay? He's helped me a lot the past week. I just kind of built on those relationships and utilized them and brought the money aspect in. I have known Saint Anthony for a long time. Little did I know that one of the things he did during his life was help people relieve debt. Like he would go and he would petition for the sake of someone who couldn't pay off their debt. And so whenever I have a medical bill come in that I cannot pay, I have debt come in that's really weighing me down, I go to St. Anthony and I'm like, dude, can you help me lower this? Utilizing the things that have worked again and again. If you do something and it works, do it again. If you do something and it works, do it again. I don't know why. I'm sure that this is like common like brain, but little Frankie was like, this worked, I'm gonna try something else. What are you doing, babe? Please, just do it again. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. And if something's not working, but it's worked before, tweak it. Try something else. Maybe throw in open roads in there, which I'm going to talk about like the process for money magic a little later. This is like going to be like a 46-minute crash course. You're welcome. So we're kind of breaking down the things that I talked about earlier. When I talk about the things that my ancestors would associate with abundance or necessity, this is because my practice is very rooted in my ancestors. I knew that if I wanted my money magic to be successful, I would need their hand in it. So I sought out spells for good harvests. I sought out spells and spirits that they petitioned. I scoured anthropological journals, ethnographic things, literally anything I could find, just searching for something that was similar to a money spell, and I found one. And I use it. And that was the thing that like changed my money magic for the, like I did that and it changed everything. So for me, that ancestral guidance, that ancestral spell was really the point where my money magic started becoming more intertwined with my life and started becoming like working really, really well. You can find spells and prayers that your ancestors did that you have kind of known for a long time. For other people, this may be like a specific prayer to the deity you work with for money, a specific plant that you've known a really long time, you've worked with for a really long time that has that money association. It's about building off of our capabilities and building off what we already have in order to create this practice. When we talk about mundane actions, they're incredibly important in money magic. Being realistic with what you're asking for and taking stock of what is needed to make that happen. That is literally so important. What needs to happen to get to you to where you want? Then you work every single step. That sounds like a lot of work. It is, okay? You won't be able to get a job with just a spell if you aren't already applying. In my opinion, magic just swings the energy towards making it more likely that you do. It's almost just like just to be sure, just like making sure this is gonna work, even if I feel really good about it. For me, a lot of my magic is centered on monthly financial goals in my business and other avenues of work, the ability to reach people who are interested in opportunities for financial success in business and other offerings. I work with different spirits for every aspect of that. You don't have to, but I do. Monthly financial goals, I typically work with more Saturnine and Jupiterian spirits. Plant spirits associated with abundance, with money, with always having enough, prosperity, and then Saturn spirits, which is I work with for long-term prosperity. For the ability to reach people who are interested, that is a Crossroads spirit and Mercury type deal. That is who I talk to in order to open the roads and let the opportunities in. And that's also, for both of them, I do opportunities, Mercury and kind of mercurial spirits, road opening spirits. And then I also bring in the other spirits, money spirits I work with that I go to for long-term success, short-term success, receiving a certain amount of money, abundance and prosperity to help me reach the goal at that opportunity when it's already set in place. Looking at herbs in the practice and the tools that you already utilize is imperative. When I started money magic, I was like, I'm gonna look up plans associated with money and finances and just start working with them. But I didn't take the time to build a relationship. A lot of the spirits I work with now, I've had a relationship with for upwards of 3 years, some of them much longer than that. And they are more than happy to just kind of help me in one other thing because I take care of them. I have a relationship with them. They know me. It's really just expanding and tapping into those associations with finances and money with the already existing plant relationships, spirit relationships. Like I said before, money magic magic is incredibly different depending on tradition, but for me, my money magic centers on spirit relationships. So this is the section where we're talking about like money spirits. A lot of the spirits I work with for money are those that I go to for other things, which I already said, like St. Anthony, plants, deities, or when I need something. Some spirits I utilize in my money magic are vervain, which is a panacea herb. Lentils, you will always see lentils on my money spells. It does not matter, they're always there. They're like, I have a money spell right now. Look at this little lentil. Lentil. They're literally everywhere in my money workings. They're a legume associated with abundance in Italian tradition. Actual objects and plant matter from the place of my work. This is something I didn't do till recently, and it changed my fucking life. Okay? Like dirt from your work, a literal plant from your workplace, like having something that was at your work, bringing it home and working it, doing work on it, or doing work with it. And then you can either bring it back, or you can leave it at home and you have this energetic tie between your place of work and where you do your workings to actually make it grow. Energetic profiles. So I already kind of touched base on some of this, but Mercury and Mercurial plants, Saturnine plants, Jupiterian plants. I work with some deities. Mercury I also kind of consider a deity as well as an energetic profile. So Mercurial type spirits, Mercury himself and Fortuna are very frequently found in my money magic. And then the saints, Expedite and Anthony. Someone on Patreon in our Patreon only Q&A section asked me to talk about how I uphold spirit relationships. And so if you're listening to me talk about how many spirits I work with and you're like, how the f do they do that? I would really recommend, subscribing to my Patreon and watching that video. It's our first Q&A video, and you're more than happy to ask me any of those questions over there. I try to answer as many questions in the comments as possible on my YouTube video, but oftentimes it takes me a lot longer and you get a fully dedicated video. So go ahead and head over there if you are interested. Each spirit is not just fed with food offerings. This is the other part of this. I actually give them money. If you come into my house and you look at an altar for a money spirit, there's actual like dollar bills on it. The amount of money that I cannot use because I've offered it to a spirit is intangible. It is a lot. And that, they're like, okay, thanks. And this was something I learned from my friend Gabriel, where I was like, he's like, well, what are you offering them? I'm like, coins. And he's like, you need to give them actual money. And I'm like, what? So then I had to go to the bank, pull out money and offer it to the spirits, and that also changed their behaviors. They were more likely to help me. The other thing is you have to keep increasing it. So I actually have like a big thing of savings and cash that I set aside for my money spirits, and when a particular spirit helps me in a really big way, I take it out of the communal money bowl and give it specifically to them. So I have these altars, these separate altars for all of the money spirits and deities I work with, and then also a communal money bowl for everyone with petitions and oils, and I anoint it and I put herbs in it, and I kind of have charged it to like every time I put money in this savings jar, I receive more money in this account. As you become more successful, you want your offerings to reflect that. For me, my money spirits helped get me where I am today. This is imperative. You need to actually reflect that in your offerings to them. If you're abundant, they need to be abundant. Spirits love getting okay? And I definitely have more spirits that are a little more like offering based than others. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna give you like this, and they're like, okay. And then otherwise I'm like, they're like, wine? Please. For necessity-based workings, I always include St. Expedite. The oils that I like to use are Death Witch's St. Expedite oil, Kitchen Toad St. Expedite oil. A lot of the things on my altar come from either them or Mountain Conjure. For long-term abundance, I like to work with Jupiterian and Saturnine plants. So Saturn is a plant that, Saturn is a planet that I think not a lot of people would utilize for money magic. For me, I have one of the biggest spirit allies I work with for money is Mandrake. And Mandrake is a Saturnine plant, also a Venusian plant. So there's this kind of dual aspect to Mandrake of long-term fulfillment and also like attraction that I utilize. And also that was like an ancestral working for me, so I kind of also have that aspect coming in. Also, I gotta keep an eye on my snake. And for quicker money, I like to work with mercurial plants. Really just kind of like getting in there, getting quick, dirty money, being like, I need $100 by this day. I don't give a f how, please help. It works. Other things to keep in mind when we talk about money magic: specificity. You have to be specific when you are working with money. I've talked about this before, and I think Jason Miller also talks about it in Financial Sorcery. You need to be specific. Sometimes I did money magic and I had weird fucking money come in. No idea, like I just got random money. And I was like, cool, this is great, but I actually went this, and they were like, well, you should have said that then. Be specific. And when I say be specific, I mean be more specific. Say the exact amount you want to receive, how much you want to make that month, the bank account it's going to, exactly when you need it by. I mean, like, plan it out and give it to them. I've noticed that the more specific you get and the less kind of physical action world stuff you do, you're not going to meet that goal. A lot of times I look back at these like petitions that I made that I felt like they weren't fulfilled, and they were, and I'm like, oh, whoops, sorry. For me, I like to aim higher rather than lower. Usually I feel like once I get a petition going, once I work it, once I put it under someone's feet, once I like include it in a bag, things really start picking up, even if it's not to the exact extent that I wanted. But I like going big or going home. And maybe, yes, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get that in 1 month, but I got it in 3 months. And that's something to keep in mind, is I'm always targeting kind of this more growth-based, long-term thing, especially with my shop, my business, etc. I'm targeting a more long-term goal than I am short-term, and if I'm doing short-term, it's separate. I've been working certain things for like a year, and the thing hasn't come to fruition yet, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep going because eventually it pays off. I would not attribute like my business and my shop to being as successful as I see it now if it weren't for some of the spells that I did for long-term abundance, for really growing it. I was able to quit my part-time job and do my shop full-time. And is it making me rich? No, but it's exactly the goal that I wanted to hit within a year. And that is really big for me. And keep in mind, I'm also like making promotion videos. I'm restocking pretty frequently. I'm doing this shop full-time now almost, with other things on the side, and it is paying off. So the last thing we're going to touch on, I'm going to talk today about the kind of way, the order of money magic. So what I always start with is a road opening, crossroads, work, or blockbuster. Because you can't have money come in unless you're actively like opening the door for that opportunity. That's kind of the first step, is like, I want this opportunity to come to me. So, you know, getting an interview for a job, having a market pop up in my case, you know, having these things, those opportunities actually come to you is step one. And in order to do that, you got to be on good terms with whatever road opening spirits you work with. Speaking from experience, I am always on the outs with my road opening spirits, not because I like don't try, but because I forget to feed them. And I always can tell when it's been a little too long since my last offering, because suddenly slows. Nothing's happening. Everything slows down. It doesn't matter how many money spells I do. It doesn't matter how much I work. Nothing's working. So then I'm like, oh, you know what I haven't done in a month? Feed the crossroads spirits that I work with. Keep in mind too, when I say crossroads spirits, there are a lot of different crossroads spirits and a lot of different traditions. You do not need to seek out a crossroads spirit from a tradition that is closed or a tradition that is not yours. You can find the crossroads spirits in your tradition, in your ancestral practice, or you can just kind of like associate the crossroads with a spirit, nameless, not from a particular tradition, and begin to offer them things. Crossroads and road opening work are number one. In some cases, a blockbuster is needed. You really need to get, like, there's a big wall there, get the wall down. Then you can kind of move on to actually receiving the opportunity. So like something like a success working, something like this is an opportunity that comes to me, I make money from it. And then from there, you can actually work on What kind of abundance and prosperity you want to receive from that opportunity? How much do you want to make? What do you want to get out of it? What does your abundance look like at this opportunity? What does your prosperity look like? Highlight those parameters and start working that. And keep in mind, that takes forever. You will, I swear to God, like, you just do it. So much. If you want a job slot at this particular job, pays this much, and this is when you want to get it, you have to open the roads. You have to be successful in getting the job. You have to like actually then start working to get the amount of money you want, and that may include a promotion. And then from there, you just continue working, because you can't, once you get it, if that money magic helped you get there, helped you get what you want, you can't stop. From there, that's okay. My particular process for doing money workings, everyone's, like I said, is different. Every tradition is different when we talk about money magic. My last tip, the last thing that helped me in my money magic, is just intertwining it with my everyday. Money magic isn't just a spell I do, it's literally in the food I eat. I put prosperity syrup in my coffee. I will smoke cleanse my cameras in like a Jupiter incense or a Mercury incense for reach. I will create foods and say blessings of abundance over it. I will anoint oils every day that help me with this. I will go back to the petitions that I have written 6 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, and I will re-anoint them. I will rework them. I will go back every month and I will work that same petition again. Sometimes it means rewriting it. Same thing. I will make sure each spirit is fed. I will make sure that if I have forgotten a spirit, like the Crossroads spirit, I make amends before it gets too bad. Drop some pennies on the crossroads. Like, sorry. And of course, I will divine. I will check in every once in a while, be like, how is this going? What does it look like? What do I need to do? Are there any blocks in my way? A lot of this requires attentiveness and time and making it accessible for you. Here's the thing about magic that we don't talk about, especially money magic. This isn't about becoming the richest person in the world. This is about making sure you're comfortable. This is about making sure the people you care about are comfortable. And this is about making sure that your community is comfortable. What can you do in your practice to help that get there? When I pray for my abundance, I also pray for my peers. I include people just at random will. I'm like, let's just throw something good their way, you know? And every once in a while, like, you just need a little helping hand. And this is kind of returning to that abundant community. I do not believe we are meant to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and be completely individualistic and make our way in this stupid capitalistic world completely by ourselves. I truly believe that our community is where abundance lies. We aren't successful without community, and that requires taking care of each other. It requires giving back when you need it. It requires asking for help. It requires showing up for each other in ways past finances. It requires us cooking for each other, checking in with each other's mental health, making sure we're all in a good position. Our communities are our abundance. My ancestors, your ancestors, everyone's ancestors weren't out here like, I'm gonna do all this shit myself. It takes a village, truly. And that just doesn't go for abundance and finances. It goes for feeding ourselves, taking care of ourselves, childcare. Everything is meant to be done in community. Our grieving, our success. I truly believe that we are meant to take care of each other in any way that we can. We don't have the choice not to. Unless you decide to live completely like in a commune and take care of each other in that way, which I have seen some success in that, but also that's not accessible for a lot of people with disabilities, and it seems like a really daunting task. Unless we can get to that for everyone, we're not going to be in a position where no one is suffering at the hands of capitalism. We are all in this together, which means we can all recognize that we all need money to survive, and we can all recognize that we can take care of each other financially, take care of each other emotionally, and support each other through like the means of money. But we can also recognize that the goal is for all of us to be okay. And I think that's the thing that I missed at the beginning of my money magic journey, and I was so focused on my success, what I wanted, what was beneficial for like what I needed to get where I wanted to be. And I wasn't really focused on my community, because for me, creating products for people, that is community. Like that is me giving something, even though you have to pay for it. Creating content, that is me giving something. There's an active reciprocity here, I think, that has become very financial and out of, necessity. That's just the way the world is right now. A lot of people need to be compensated for their time and labor, but also recognize that sometimes when you are just watching my videos, when you are just interacting with my content, you are sharing it, you're sharing shop posts, you're joining, you're like telling friends about me, you're leaving a review, things that cost you no money, that helps me. That's giving to me, even though it's not material. And that's one of the many ways that you, as my community and part of my community, assist me in being abundant. I'm gonna reiterate what I said at the beginning. I wouldn't be here without you. Even if all you've ever done is watch my videos, maybe watch it when you were like busy, leave a like, leave a comment, and follow my Instagram, share a post to your story. If that's all you've ever done, you've never gotten a tarot reading, you helped me get where I am. Abundance isn't just about money. It's about us supporting each other, us showing up for each other, us recognizing that there are multiple ways to show up for people and help them get where they're supposed to be that aren't just about money. Abundance is being able to get on this platform and know that the majority of the comments I get are encouraging, and people telling me like how much they appreciate me and how much they care about my well-being. We've never met. That's crazy. You care about me? Why? But like, that's one of the many ways that abundance shows up. I am abundant in the content I create because the people around me made it so. And that doesn't just expand to content creation. Yes, that's a big part of my practice, but it's also in your life. In what ways do all of the employees at your job show up together and take care of each other? Union. Unions are community taking care of each other. Being able to have kind of people who will show up no matter what and take care of you in a multitude of ways, friends, family, coworkers, people on online spaces, that is being abundant in community, and ultimately that is what takes care of you. If all goes to shit, I know people will have your back and mine. And that is really what I want to take away from this video is, yes, do some money magic, but also check in with your friends. See if they need dinner one night. See if someone needs a little help with their groceries, and see if you can do anything to support their business ventures and the ways that they are, being financially prosperous and abundant right now. And most ultimately, what does prosperity look for you, and what does abundance look like for you? Those are the keys to your money magic. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to me vent and rant and talk about this in a way that I am very passionate about. And thank you for continuing to support me on my channel. I wouldn't be where I am without you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Remember to drink water or a watery iced down coffee. And if you are interested in supporting me financially past just a video, you can check the links down below and see my shop, my Patreon, and everything fun. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Siete Benedetti. I forgot it for a second. I know you guys saw that too. They're like, they don't know what they're fucking talking about.